So now we're going to talk about rotations. In the most basic sense, what a rotation is basically one player moving from one position to another position. This isn't really anything too complex for a lot of people. If I'm Sova and I wanted to rotate, I might rotate like this, and I might just rotate straight over to A. They're pushing A, cool, I'm rotating, I'm on the way. It's going to take me a little bit, but now I'm here. So the rotation basically is the time that it's going to take me between that. How do I get there the fastest? How do I, what should you do in different situations? We're going to talk about all of that. So, say, for example, if we wanted to get there as fast as possible, we know that there are 5 people. They are planning the spike on A. That is the time when you rotate with your knife out, pretty much. You know that they are all 5 there. You're not going to get lurked on or anything. You're coming straight through. And you're just going to come and help your teammates on A. Another way that you can do this rotation, and like a way that's more disciplined, I suppose, would be like rotating through middle. If you know that there are 5 people A, you know that mid's clear. I could rotate straight through here in the middle of the map, and I could just knife out, and now we're going to have a different vantage point, right? So now, rather than having everybody retaking from just like heaven, or having to retake tree, we're able to split tree like this, and we're able to like come in, and it'll just be just a little bit more structured. The other thing that this does is it cuts off enemy rotation. So say, for example, like there is like a lurker trying to come through or anything, you're able to fight that guy in middle, and you're able to kind of like prevent your team from getting screwed over by this guy he's trying to get a lurk on you guys. So this is going to be more prevalent on other maps, like something like Breeze is a big example, and when rotating through mid is like a big deal. Something like Icebox rotating through mid can be a big deal. Yeah, stuff like that. So just making sure that rotating through mid is generally what you want to do, just to cut off or like give your team more info on like what's going on in the round. But if you know that 5 people are A, not as necessary. Like you can just rotate straight over, take the fastest route, right? Which will sometimes be through mid. But now, yeah, we made this rotation. We can do it with our knife out. What if, say, for example, we know that there are a lot of people A, but we don't know that they're necessarily in sight. We don't really know if spike is going down. In this situation, what we might want to perform is something called a slide. So a slide is, rather than having everybody rotate over, what we're going to do is we're going to move one player so that they can help, and then we're going to have to like slide the rest of our team over to deal with that player leaving, right? So say, for example, on this map is actually kind of easy. Where we have just 4 choke points to watch, so we have just one extra player who could be doing anything. So say, for example, they're pushing A, cool, Phoenix like mollies it, and what we're going to do is we're going to have our Jett slide over, right? She's going to come heaven, and maybe she has an operator or like a rifle or something, and she's able to hold up in this angle. We can get Omen smoke right here just to hold the push, and now we have 3 people on A. Maybe somebody like backs up to watch the catwalk still, but now we have 2 people on A at the very least, right? So there's not just one person holding. This is what we call a slide. This is good. We can slide even further if we really need to. Say that it looks really bad. They're maybe coming in, right? Instead, we'll have our Killjoy turret. It'll watch right here. And then we have an alarm bot in mid. And this is awesome. And then our Omen is going to slide over. And now we have 4 players holding this. So now where we have the 1 in tree and we have the 3 players just watching on A, right? So now if they try to push into A, we have this guy locking down tree. And it's almost surely going to result like very bad for them. Maybe our Killjoy is playing over in market even, so she can have a faster rotate, or even top mid. Like this is something I've done as Killjoy. So it's like now we have everybody slid over here. We still have everything covered. Everything's still covered. We have our turret. We have our alarm bot. Everything is good. But we've slid our rotations over. So this is how a slide will generally work. Now, say for example, we don't hear anything for a bit. Now we're probably gonna want to slide back. Maybe Killjoy comes over here. We have like our Omen come back towards top mid. And he's just holding a position like this, and he's just kind of watching. We still think maybe it's going to be an A. Smoke dissipates or something like that. Maybe they don't see anything. Maybe we want to keep resmoking this, right? Now we slid back. We're sliding our defenses, so we can still cover everything, but we just have more resources where we think that it's most likely that they're going to hit, right? So this is what slides are going to be very important. So it's important that you understand this. You don't always want to just pull off a full rotate. And a lot of the times this is when this might actually get you yelled at in some of your games from like lesser experienced players who are like, hey, like it's A, Killjoy, what are you doing B? If I don't hear the spike getting planted as like an immortal level player right now, if I don't hear the spike getting planted or they're not like pushing into sight, I'm not going to leave my position because we don't know if there's like a lurk somewhere. There's somebody who wants to walk up and get the jump on us. Like maybe for example, they're making a lot of noise here and they're just selling a fake. And like they have somebody lurking up mid, he's gonna try to like get a flank on us, get a pick. Somebody might try to come into B. And like if we all rotate, this guy gets into B for free. We don't want that. We want to make sure everything's covered. So if we don't have like any reason to believe that they are coming onto site, most of the time I won't be rotating personally. But other things you need to know for rotations are going to be stuff like should you be making noise? So say for example, if there's a lot going on, but we suspect that a lurk might be happening, I don't want to be just like sprinting through spawn with my knife out, right? If we think that there's possibility that a lurker could be up mid, If I do this is just gonna like definitely result in my death. Say for example, somebody's lurked all the way up here and he's just holding this angle, waiting for me to like swing by, right? Instead, what I'm gonna do is maybe I'll be like walking through spawn and I'll be doing like one of these. And if I'm cautious of a lurker, I'll peek this angle. And look, because I was disciplined, because I took my time with the rotation, I knew that there weren't 5 people on A, and I know this by like looking at the map, right? If I see 5 bodies, I'm gonna be like, cool, it's a lot safer. But if I only see 3 bodies, and I maybe I didn't even see any utility from like the Cypher or anything like that, I'm definitely gonna be like playing like a little bit more cautiously. I'm gonna be like, where is this last guy? Because there's a high likelihood that he's lurking somewhere that's going to be relevant to his team. So maybe right here, maybe he's going to be up here on catwalk, like kind of playing that slowly. Did we have any information in mid? All of this is going to be relevant to your rotation, right? Now, maybe one last thing I would talk about with rotations is kind of like when you're making calls based off of like fakes and stuff like that. Or a lot of the times, how you should rotate if you know that they just had an unsuccessful push. So let's start there, right? Say for example, they try to push this and it gets slowed, it gets stunned and stuff like that. They're not coming in. We have 4 players over there right now, and I'm the B player. How am I going to rotate? A lot of people would say, yeah, just rotate through spawn. Like, just run over there. This is a pretty bad idea oftentimes, because what's going to happen is if I rotate through spawn, and even though we knew they had 5 people there, it seems like that might be the best decision. They have 5 people, right? I just rotate through spawn, knife out, and I'm over there to help my team. But what's going to happen is we're going to get there, and they're going to not come in, right? They couldn't. It's got slowed. They're calling, hey, there's 4 people here. Like, let's leave. So instead, what a better decision would be, maybe, is if we see 5 there, I can literally knife out into spawn, and I can just run straight through here, and maybe I go tiles. And I'm from this position, you'll notice my sound radius, I can listen for footsteps in their spawn. So if they're running in their spawn, I can hear it. I can hold up like an off angle like this, and it's just going to make it very difficult for them to clear this out. Because now as we're like rotating through, now we have, not only do we have to worry about this location, but like they're going to have to worry about this, right? You can have like a crossfire with your team from catwalk. You have a Sova who's just sitting in this corner. It's just like, it's going to make it very difficult for them for the rest of the round. So, like, you're already seeing, you have 4 people here. They're not making it into A. You can push up and you can grab this space for your team, and you can make it really difficult for them to go anywhere else now because they made the bad decision to be stacked as 5 people, right? They're stacked as 5 people. Your rotation through their through here is going to make it a lot more difficult for them than if you rotate through here. Because now you rotate through there, you don't have any more space. You don't have any extra space to compensate for the fact that they made a bad decision, and you're not able to punish them for it. So this is when it's going to be a good idea to rotate through here. And then the last thing that I kind of mentioned is kind of just making a gut call on rotations. Sometimes there are like telltale signs that they're running a fake. So say for example, they use a Killjoy ultimate. They use the Killjoy ultimate in this corner. I can even flip back to this, and Killjoy ultimate goes down, and they're like, oh man, guys, it's A, it's A, it's A. Everybody falls back. But like as it's getting down to like 5 seconds, 4 seconds, you're not really like seeing anybody. Smokes are down. They smoked tree, they smoked heaven, but we have people who are like in this corner here, and they're not seeing anything. They're not hearing anything. It's like at this point, you can kind of like accurately determine this is a fake. Can we get an Omen smoke like on B main? We have our turret. Hopefully we have mollies right here to stop this push. And now you're starting to like realize that like their actions didn't quite line up. It's like they dropped the Killjoy ultimate. They made it sound like they were going to rush. But then like, why aren't they in then? Why didn't they go in with the Killjoy ultimate? Immediately you can just start assuming like, hey, I think this is a fake. Like this doesn't seem right, you know? So if you ever see things in your games that are like, this doesn't seem right, I would probably trust your gut and just try to play a little bit more safely. If you're seeing things where it's like, this just feels like too good to believe, a lot of the times your gut call is normally going to be right. So hopefully this is helpful for some players to kind of just understand rotations and what situations you should rotate. Rotating through mid as like a general like disciplined rule if you can, if it's not too unsafe. And other than that, I appreciate you all for watching this video, and let's get into the next one.